Now,
Okay.
regular.
Oh, yeah.
It's in
Wait,
reverse.
It's ready
it's
to
in
go.
reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you push on the gas, you'll start going, and you want to.
I see a car out there, so I don't want to go until there. Okay. Left foot on brake. Reverse. Okay. A little different here. Okay. Now we go. It's smooth. Yeah, it just took a moment to decide to do it. Okay.
And
Now,
shift
forward.
down twice.
Down,
Down.
down. One,
drive.
two.
Yeah, let's see where we are.
Yeah, we
You're
drive.
too far right. You're in drive.
Okay.
There you go.
Now gas. A little bit of to start.
This is the 10-year-old controls.
This is C code.
This is quiet. It really is quiet.
Oh, you've got an E. Sorry, you have it in the wrong key.
I have an
But
E.
Go ahead and push the brake.
Push the brake. We're on the brake.
Yeah, I was wondering why I was struggling.
It shouldn't. Okay, I think.
Should we go back?
It's in drive.
I don't want to go over this
Yeah,
the
so
speed
we're going to
bumps.
put it back in reverse.
Put it back in reverse.
Can you see the little?
It's not.
Turn the lights on.
Where
actually,
are-
right there.
Turn the lights on, and then you should be able to.
Which way do you turn them?
There,
Ah,
there we go.
hey,
we're in
now we
neutral.
can see. All right.
Reverse.
Yeah, let's go reverse. Okay, Robin, you're just going to have the best time. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. Now it feels like a car.
There you go. All right.
Okay. All we needed was light. We're in drive.
Illuminati.
It goes just a hesitation for a moment till it sort of
that's the
finds itself.
transmission
That's transmission.
controller.
Okay.
Yeah, because that transmission
But it's a
needs to build clamping pressure, and sometimes it doesn't.
nice and
quite
quiet.
This is Peak Moment. We are living at a peak of human innovation, information, wealth, and health. But we're also at a peak of population and consumption, with rising temperatures and declining resources fueled by cheap oil and gas. Peak Moment Television, bringing you examples of positive responses to energy decline and climate change through local community action.
Hi, welcome to Peak Moment. I'm Janaea Donaldson, and this is program 2 with the researchers from UC Davis into hybrid electric vehicles. I'm with Patrick Kaufman and Brian Jungers from the Hybrid Electric Vehicle Center. They're part of Team Fate Research Group, yes?
Yes.
Welcome, Team Fate.
Thank you.
So guys, what kind of car is this?
This is a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. It used to be a Mercury Sable, 96. It was given to us by a Ford Mercury, and we converted it.
What did you do?
We gutted out all the drivetrain that was in it and put in our own custom stuff.
Okay. So you took out the drivetrain. Did you keep the engine?
Nope, took the engine out.
So you took the engine out.
Took the transmission out.
Took the transmission out.
And we actually added a few things. We added our own electric motor.
You have a motor,
We have our own engine, combustion engine,
a different engine,
different combustion engine.
okay,
And our own transmission, different transmission.
another transmission,
And we had to weld a new body pan on the bottom and add batteries.
batteries. Is that all?
That's pretty
Mostly.
much it. And a lot of
controllers and
controllers,
Controllers,
electronics,
electronics,
and
regenerative braking.
It's all
Yeah.
it's all
Was
part
that
of the
part of that?
drivetrain. Yeah.
Oh, that's part of the mix.
Some fans and radiators and
So what is it? It's a plug-in hybrid electric
vehicle.
gasoline engine
gasoline engine.
vehicle.
Correct.
Okay.
Start-
So, can we have a view of,
We
you
should.
know,
Yeah, let's
from
take
the
a
hood
look
to see what
inside.
you did different?
Certainly.
So why did UC Davis want to work on hybrid plug-in electric vehicles? Why?
Well, Dr. Frank, our advisor, has been at UC Davis for about 20 years, and he's been working on plug-in hybrids for over 15 years at UC Davis. And the reason he keeps building plug-in hybrids, and we have so many, is that they solve or address a lot of problems that we face with transportation today. Right now we operate on a single fuel almost exclusively, and everyone knows it. We don't have diversity in our fuel system and our energy system for transportation. We use a lot of that fuel that comes from unstable parts of the world, places where people don't like us very much, and this vehicle actually addresses a lot of that. A plug-in hybrid can cut down fuel use by as much as 80–90%, depending on how you drive.
Wow.
And that's really significant. It also reduces the emissions from driving and provides lots of benefits on that side.
So, why don't we have them now, all of us? You know, why they're widely available?
Right now you can buy a regular hybrid, and what it basically is you know,
An electric motor assist.
yeah.
So basically,
An electric motor assist to a gasoline engine?
right.
Oh,
So currently what we have are gasoline engines, and in order to jump on the hybrid bandwagon, OEMs have strapped on a small electric motor in the place of an alternator or a starter.
okay. So OEMs are like the automakers.
The automakers.
So they just are adding.
A small electric motor
Oh.
so that you can get a little assist when you want to accelerate. When you bury your foot in the accelerator pedal is when you burn a lot more gas.
Okay.
And so to counteract that, they think they can add a little electric motor with a small battery pack that will add a little electrical energy to the system and convert that to mechanical and give you a little oomph and save a little gas. But overall, it's not the best solution, and it's not
It's not actually displacing any gasoline.
Right,
All your
exactly.
power is still coming from gasoline. Right.
Uh-huh.
so it's so what we have here, a plug-in hybrid electric. Ours is designed as, one might call it a range extender. We design, basically it starts as an electric vehicle. We add the combustion engine to extend your range.
So it's the other way around.
It's the other way around completely, and so that's the major difference. And the plug-in capability allows us to pull electricity right off the grid. So you're not only sustaining a charge while you drive and having to recharge it with braking, you can do all your driving like an electric vehicle off of electricity for one day, and then at night recharge it and be able to do 40 to 60 miles, depending on the particular car, of driving, which is the average for Americans. You can do all your driving again on electricity, so you can have zero emissions. That also brings up the question is, where does the electricity come from? But you can have zero emission driving if
Right, on the road. Right, because most of your trips are going to be electric vehicle, right? Just the electric part, and it's whatever I want to know what it costs to. Let's say you've driven it 50 miles, so you plug it in at night to charge it up when you get home. How long does it have to spend? How long does it take to recharge?
Okay.
Well, it takes about 6 to 8 hours, depending on how much all-electric range you have, how big your batteries are. National average cost of electricity is about 8 cents a kilowatt hour. So it costs you like 75 cents or less per gallon of gas equivalent of energy to charge your batteries. So basically, instead of paying $3 a gallon, you're paying 75 cents for X number of kilowatts.
This could make a big difference. Even though, I mean, here in California, our electricity, some of it's coming from renewables, but most of it's probably natural gas. Some is nuclear, some is water. We have some coal as well. So it's a move in the right direction, and particularly as those get more renewable. And
Well, it's a transition to all electric vehicles, which currently the electric technology, the technology is not at a level where it can please a consumer to be all electric. That's kind of the drawbacks of the mid-90s electric vehicles. People complain about range. That's why we have.
They couldn't go far enough.
They couldn't go far enough on a charge, so that's why we had the combustion engine. Ideally, in the future, in 10, 20 years, the technology that we're using and developing will be farther enough along that they can be all electric cars, and the range will be there. Big thing with that will every part of the technology needs to increase, but a big thing would be batteries. But we'll show you some of the other parts of the technology. All of the technology needs to get better and more efficient, but batteries and their power density need to increase greatly to get up to the level of liquid fuel power density, which is why we have a range extender.
Well, I mean, liquid fuel is pretty amazing when you think about it.
Store a lot of energy.
This 1 gallon of gasoline is enough to take this car and push it 30 miles if you're doing it by hand.
Well,
that's a lot, or 20 miles, or however far you can go on a
hybrid
gallon
range.
of gas.
No,
Not your. This before you converted it.
Oh yes.
When it was just a gasoline vehicle.
It's mercury stable,
25, 30.
about 25, 30. Now hybrid range is on this. I believe it was. It's 55.
Oh, well,
No,
we get like 60 or 70 miles per gallon.
60 or 70 miles
Hybrid made.
running
So
hybrid mode, running off gas, not with a charge, meaning That's not accounting for what you plugged in and got at your grid. If it's just charged, you can sustain the charge that it has running just hybrid mode, and you would get 60, 70 miles per gallon.
So is that running just the gasoline engine?
That's running just, no. You're running electric assist, but it's running in hybrid mode.
What does that mean?
See, there's a difference between plug-in hybrids and regular hybrids.
Okay.
There are no plug-in hybrids in mass production right now on the market.
Right, okay.
So plug-in hybrid has a bigger battery pack and a bigger electric motor, so you can run all electric for that 40 to 60 miles, and you can run at speeds of a normal car operation. A hybrid car, you can't run all electric. The electric motor is an assist, and you have the gas engine on almost all the time, not all of the time. And so that's the major difference.
Actually, that does lead to a question. What kind of speeds can you get off of a hybrid versus the plug-in hybrid? What kind of, maximum speeds?
The speeds can be the same.
Really? You can go highway speed?
You can go highway speed.
Now, is that true with an all-electric vehicle?
Definitely. Yeah. The only issue is the faster you go, the quicker you deplete your batteries. And so we tend to have some maximum speed at which we cut off and say, okay, well, above 65 miles per hour, it doesn't matter what my battery state of charge is, I'm going to turn my engine on and I'm going to drive as a hybrid because I'm depleting my batteries too quickly.
Okay. So that sounds to me then there would be some speed which would be optimal for an electric vehicle. Is that true or not?
Optimal to run as an electric vehicle?
We know that with a gas engine,
city driving,
there's certain levels where your most efficient use of that engine. Is that true with an electric as well? A more efficient speed?
Not necessarily speed. The electric motor has an efficiency curve, and it operates in an ideal operating line. IOL is what we call it. So we try to keep it in a certain operating torque and speed range.
If you speed up too fast, if the RPMs are too high, it does start to dip quite a bit in its efficiency.
Yes.
So
we offset that with a little gas.
Oh, I see.
A little gas engine then. It's not, the decision to run gas or electric is not as easy as what speed am I going. There's a lot of other factors to involve.
If you're at dead stop,
battery state of charge, current speed, how much torque are you demanding? Things like that.
There's a heck of a lot of stuff you guys have to be dealing with in the engineering, isn't there? I mean, this is not just straightforward. You've got a lot of counterbalancing kinds of things.
Trade-offs.
Yeah.
Trying to optimize the system.
For all the efficiencies and the systems that you have. Right. What else? What else have I not asked you about
you mentioned earlier, or you asked why we don't have these yet, and so that's a question that people have been asking. Dr. Frank actually has been asking that question for a long time, and he's been trying to talk the car manufacturers into making these vehicles for a long time. And for a while, it was batteries have been an issue. The nickel metal hydride batteries.
Nickel
metal
hydride batteries. Okay,
yeah.
Which is what you're using. Is that what you're using?
It's in this vehicle.
An older test vehicle.
And that's what we've used in several of our previous vehicles.
Okay.
They work pretty well. You can store a fair amount of energy, and they were sold in a lot of the electric vehicles that were sold in the mid and late 90s. And so the technology works, and they're showing that the life cycles are enough to meet people's demands for the most part. Like there are RAV4 EVs that have driven 150,000 miles on the same battery pack and are still driving.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of cycles.
So why don't we have them out there?
They need to increase production. There needs to be incentive. Public demand needs to be there. All of those things. And
cost.
Also, the legislators need to know what's important to fund and what's not, and what the public wants to see. They need to know how to meet the demands of the public. So,
well, in the movie Who Killed the Electric Car, it looked pretty apparent that people were trying to get the message to the automakers that they loved the electric cars and they wanted more of them and more people wanted them, and it didn't result in. They withdrew all the cars. They took them back. So it does make us wonder that if we shouted to the rooftops, you guys, we want the plug-in hybrids. Read our lips. We want the plug-in hybrids. We have to make sure, are they going to be listening? Or do we have to speak to our policymakers, our government people, to say, give them incentives?
Well, that's the nice thing about the plug-in hybrid. It gives them the range, so hopefully the public acceptance of this car will be way better than the electric vehicle. When people see they don't have to change their driving habits too much, they still can have the conveniences. They can change their driving habits and make it even more efficient, but the plug-in hybrid gives them all the conveniences that they've grown to expect. And so hopefully the public acceptance of the plug-in hybrid will be a lot higher than the electric vehicle, and hopefully the auto manufacturers will see that and jump on the bandwagon or just start manufacturing them. Because once production starts or increases, the cost will go way down. That's the thing with any new technology. And
something that didn't happen with electric vehicles that is already started to happen with plug-in hybrids is that there's a lot of public support and organizing. There's a group called Plug-in Partners that you may have heard of in Austin, and they've organized many cities around the country. They're trying to organize states, and they've been lobbying Congress and other people in DC to get them to force the manufacturers to make these vehicles. And they've actually gotten a lot of positive response. And President Bush has been talking about plug-in hybrids, and so we may be seeing change and more support for this technology.
It's time. I mean, it was time, but certainly I think the increased awareness of global warming and of peak oil, the Iraq War, and being over there for oil is probably helping to push
make people
the rest of us.
I think people just need to be aware that there's a need there. I was talking to a friend of mine who also was in hybrid research, and the debate is why aren't the people, mandating this from them? And maybe they don't see they're not aware of the need, but we in this kind of research are certainly aware of the need, and I hope other people become aware of it.
I think a lot of the folks that are watching Peak Moment are aware that our oil is on decline, and so is natural gas, and we need to get going on producing the alternatives, like you're doing, or like you're researching. Well, anything else? Or should we take a look under the hood?
I think we should look under the hood.
We should look under the hood.
Okay.
And then take it for a test drive.
Okay.
It opens like any normal hood. You've got three major components that you can see right here. You've got the combustion engine. You've got the CVT transmission.
The transmission, okay.
And you've got your electric motor.
So that's the stuff that's different here than a regular car, a regular gas car. A smaller engine.
Correct.
A different kind of transmission.
Correct.
And a big motor.
Electric motor.
A big electric motor.
Correct.
Okay.
And the other difference is all of the accessories are now electrical driven instead of belt driven off of your engine.
Like what?
Right here we have the compressor for the air conditioner.
Oh,
so that's one
okay. So it doesn't run on belts, it's electric.
Correct. And you don't need an alternator or a starter. So those are gone.
Okay.
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 Power steering, electric.
Okay.
So those will be some examples.
So how is this different from a regular hybrid that's out on the market now?
The difference is this is a plug-in hybrid, and so what you have is a much larger electric motor. If you remember the electric motor here, which is really huge.
It's huge. It's big. It's big.
On some of the hybrids, not all, not the Prius, but on some of the hybrids, the electric motor is as small as this compressor here, which is not very big, and therefore it's just an electric assist. You can't run all electric. So the major thing is, the heart of this car is an electric vehicle, with a range extender being the combustion engine, as opposed to a lot of the hybrids that are coming out in from American car manufacturers in the next few years, which are electric assist.
Okay. Okay.
Now another difference, the Toyota Prius has a much different transmission, uses what's called a planetary gear set, and it has two motors, an electric motor and a generator. They're not as large as this, but they're much larger than what the American manufacturers are putting in their electric assists.
And so why do they have two?
They have two because they run one for specifically generating electricity, regen, and running the combustion engine to create electricity, and they have another one specifically for creating motive force directly coupled to the wheels to just move the car.
move the car.
Right.
Okay. So how is this different from that?
Okay, so what we have is the electric motor is directly coupled with a shaft to the transmission, and then we have a clutch on the other side of the transmission that decouples the engine, the combustion engine, to the transmission. So through the transmission, the electric motor is always connected to the wheels.
Oh, so you've already that's an
we
electric car.
Right. So we have one electric motor, and it does regen mode through advanced controls. When you tap on the brakes or touch the brakes or think about braking, it puts the electric motor now into a generator or regen mode, and you recouple some of the energy in electric.
Okay. Okay.
So
what did I not remember to ask
what
you?
did we miss?
Oh, well, This transmission was specially designed and built at UC Davis by students, and so it's very efficient. It's more efficient than most continuously variable transmissions because of the way it's controlled and the way the hydraulics work inside of it. It's got 2 servo-hydraulically controlled pumps, and each pump controls a pulley and applies pressure to the pulley to change the gear ratio so that you can split your torque between your electric motor and your engine. And you try to figure out where your engine's running. You operate it as ideally as possible, as efficiently as possible, and couple that torque with your electric motor. Your electric motor's almost always running pretty efficiently.
So that's the complexity, the sophistication that I was thinking that you guys have done.
The controls of that transmission is really the complex part of controlling the whole powertrain and the vehicle and the way it runs. And so that's the key, and that's where a lot of
the advanced research and controls is done. It is in the controls of that transmission.
Because you call it continuously variable transmission, which means no gears, yes?
No discrete gears.
No separate, no first, second, third gear that you get into.
It has a range, a max and a min, depending on the pulleys when they max and min their travel. But in between that range, it's constantly floating, so there's no discrete ratio.
Nice.
Which,
wow.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
It's cool. It's
very cool.
It's an automatic transmission. I mean, you're not shifting gears, and it's much more efficient than a regular automatic transmission. And it's just a little more complex to control, and there's actually a lot fewer parts. So a regular automatic has about 2,000 parts, and this has maybe 200.
And it can be made a lot cheaper because of that.
Yes. So it's the kind of thing I hope the automakers who put this competition together that this was part of. I mean,
this was part of a competition.
This is a part of a competition, what, 10 years ago? 8 years ago?
About that.
Right. So already, in a way, this is old technology for you guys. You're doing even more advancements off this?
All the technology used in here is older, but the design principles and the ideas and what parts we have are the same in our new ones. We still use a combustion engine coupled to a CVT with an electric motor, and we run it as an electric vehicle at the heart of it with the range extender of the electric motor. We still use a CVT. The controls have become much more advanced and refined because we've been controlling it for 10 years. But the engine is actually a little smaller that we use. The electric motor has a little more power, and the battery technology is a lot better.
Okay.
So those are some of the differences.
So this is stuff that the automakers could put into manufacture.
Right.
I mean, it's matured enough. You've done this enough years that
and it's just getting better and better. So if they jump into it now, they'll have a part of making it better and better.
All right.
I mean, we already proved the principles of it 10 years ago, and you'll see how well the car drives.
There you go. So. Team Fate.
Yes.
Yes.
So also you could see the engine compartment's pretty full. There are a lot of things like this right here is an inverter. So to run an electric motor, it runs 3-phase AC, and you have a DC battery pack. You have to convert that. So you have considerations like heat. There's a separate cooling system just for the electronics. But that's an inverter. So you have a lot of extra electronics added to make it. But we try to make, the electronics are very reliable, and we try to make it as simple as possible, because reliability is obviously a factor. But that's why we drive these cars around, to show you that they're reliable.
Great. Good. Is there anything in the back end?
Not really. There's batteries all underneath. They're kind of hard to get to, so probably won't.
So you keep the batteries under the car.
Yeah.
Right.
It keeps the weight low. It actually helps with handling. The center of gravity is low. It keeps the weight distribution more 40-60, kind of in the center of the vehicle. And it also actually helps flatten out the bottom, so the aerodynamics are better than most vehicles.
Okay. How big is one of this? Is a
nickel metal hydride pack.
Yeah, it's about 18 kilowatt hours, and so it takes 8 hours to charge. That's something like, if you think about the Prius battery, it's about 2 kilowatt hours. It's 9 times larger than
9 times larger.
Energy.
Energy,
not volume, but in terms of energy storage.
So how big is one pack? I mean, one of these. Give me ideas, guys. What size?
Okay, well, let's see. The Prius pack is maybe this big, if you look at the pack.
Okay.
The package. Ours is this big.
Yeah.
Okay.
But flatter.
About that
like
height.
little flat,
Little
about that
skinnier.
deep. And we have 2 of them, one on either side.
Oh, okay.
That big, so 2 boxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the project, you just told me earlier, the project you're working on now are SUVs and trucks. Who's got the truck shirt?
Future truck.
Future truck. All right. So that's different a little bit.
little bit, because the car manufacturers basically said, who are sponsoring these competitions, said, well, the market's going to SUVs, so make us an SUV. So that's what we've been doing. The difference is you're working with a little bit of a heavier vehicle to begin with. And you would think you would have more room, but you actually don't have as much room as you would think.
Really?
There's not a lot of room.
Why is it heavier then?
Because it's just bigger in general. You don't have as much room to put stuff. The passenger has more room.
I see.
Right, but you don't. But they make the engine bays and all that really small, so you don't have as much room as you would think. But you have enough to put everything in that you need. And one of our things is we try not to impact the room in the cabin very much. Like this car, no impact in the room inside.
Okay.
And so with our SUVs, we don't use any of the passengers' room. Our newest SUV, we've raised the floor about 3 inches.
Yeah, 4 or 5 inches.
4 or 5 inches to help with our battery pack.
Mm-hmm.
We're using a different battery pack, lithium-ion technology.
And you're also doing 4-wheel drive.
Yes. Oh, that's
right?
the other difference with the SUVs and the trucks is they want 4-wheel drive capability. So we add another electric motor in the rear to just run the rear wheels just for traction assist. No other reason.
For the 4-wheel drive part.
Right. So.
Okay. Good. Got it?
Yeah.
All right.
I think we should go for a drive.
I'll take it.
So too.
All right.
Alrighty.
All right.
This is so cool. This vehicle is so quiet. It just hums. Really neat. Thanks, guys. This has been a great trip. You're watching Peak Moments, community responses for a changing energy future. This is our changing energy transportation future. I'm Janae Donaldson. Join us next time. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring it back to where you're going to park.
Cool.
Where you're going to park. She's got me. Well, I'll take one.
Cool. Put you on the list.